Hi everyone, welcome back to my Elden Ring series where I make a build for every weapon in the game. In this episode, I'm going to be covering the Bastard Sword. This weapon can be acquired from the merchant at the Castle Morn Rampart site of Grace in the Weeping Peninsula. It is in the Great Sword weapon class and requires 16 strength and 10 dexterity to wield. For this one, I went with an intelligence build using a magic Bastard Sword with the Carrion Sovereignty Ash of War, which uses our sword to summon a very hard-hitting magic blade with an optional horizontal slash follow-up attack. I am one-handing the sword in my main hand alongside the Carrion Glintstone staff in my other hand to cast sorceries. My playstyle is that of what I would call a magic paladin, as I am focusing on close-range melee combat with my greatsword while also summoning a variety of magical blades. Our main source of this is of course the Carrion Sovereignty skill. This is an extremely powerful Ash of War that was added in the DLC and is the central component that we are building around. It does the most damage by far with the magic infusion and high intelligence. It shines best when you fully charge the skill attack, which increases its damage dramatically, and this also extends to the follow-up attack. But obviously, charging makes it take much longer to get off. Fortunately, it does give us hyper armor, the amount of which depends on the weapon class that we use it on. Greatswords and curved greatswords get the most hyper armor, so this weapon is an ideal choice if you want to use this Ash of War, as you can tank through most enemy attacks without getting staggered. We also have a few other sources of summoning magic blades via our sorcery lineup. I am using the Carrion Slicer, which is a very fast and spammable short-range spell, as well as the Carrion Piercer, which takes a bit longer to cast, but offers a longer range poking attack that can be charged to knock over small to medium-sized enemies. This is really good for regular mobs as well as humanoid bosses like Melania. And my final sorcery is Terra Magica, which we can use situationally to create a sigil on the ground that boosts our magic damage while standing on it. I chose the Carrion Glintstone Staff as my catalyst because it specifically boosts Carrion Sword sorceries. Overall, this build has a very fun and engaging playstyle as we have multiple attack options, each with a unique niche for combat. For my stats, at level 150, I have 50 Vigor, 30 Minds, 23 Endurance, 16 Strength, 10 Dexterity, 80 Intelligence, and 10 Faith and Arcane. 50 Vigor is enough to give us a decent bit of health, which gets a little extra help from our heavy armor. Mind is essential for this build, as our skill is quite expensive and we of course want to be able to generously use our sword sorceries as well. With Endurance, I just went high enough to stay at medium load, and I generally didn't have too many problems with stamina as far as I remember. Strength and Dex are just enough to meet the minimum requirements for our greatsword. The bulk of our damage is of course coming from intelligence, thanks to the magic infusion, which like I mentioned is far and away the best infusion for our Ash of War choice. We also get a lot of base magic damage on our regular greatsword attacks from this. Moving on to my armor, I settled on a look that I like to call the Carrion Champion. I'm using the Beast Champion helm and armor, specifically the unaltered version to include this beautiful blue cape, as well as the Knight Gauntlets and Raya Lucarian Greaves. I absolutely love this armor design. It looks very regal and powerful. Personally, I feel like it suits our build theme and playstyle very well. Moving on to Talismans, I first have the Shard of Alexander to boost the power of our Carrion Sovereignty attacks. This is kind of a no-brainer because this skill is the central attraction of the build, and we want to make it as much of a powerhouse as we can. On a similar note, next I have the Godfrey icon to boost our skill and spell damage when fully charged. I pretty much fully charge my skill attacks 100% of the time, so this talisman goes a long way. Next is the Carrion Filigreed crest, which reduces the FP consumed by using our skill. This one's not as important, but is a good quality of life choice. And finally, I have the Erdtree's Favor +2 variant, which gives a boost to our health, stamina, and equip load. I believe this one is actually necessary to stay at medium load with my particular equipment and stats, so keep in mind you may need to put a few extra points in endurance if you opt not to use this. Other good options that I would recommend include the Magic Scorpion Charm, the Radagon icon to make our sword spells come out faster, or the Blade of Mercy since our skill deals a lot of stance damage. For the Flask of Wondrous Physic, I am using the Magic Shroud and Crack tier for more magic damage, and the Green Burst Crystal tier for better stamina regeneration. And that is all I have for this Magic Paladin build video with the Bastard Sword. This is one of my favorites yet, and I highly recommend you try it out. It is so much fun. I'm excited to move into some more greatsword builds. I've got some good ones planned out, so stay tuned. Anyway, here's an overview of my setup from the menu screen. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.